Every home has one chair that still waits for someone. In a quiet, sun-drenched house stood a dining table meant for 4, but only 3 chairs were ever occupied. Every morning, a father would sit there, his gaze fixed on the empty 4th chair. It was his late wife's place, a silent monument to a love that time couldn't erase. Their daughter, Hania, watched him with a mix of love and frustration. She couldn't understand why he clung so tightly to the past, to this house full of ghosts. She yearned for the city, for a new beginning, a life where memories didn't ache in every corner. But he always refused. "This is our home," he'd say, his voice soft but firm. He wasn't just holding on to a house, he was holding on to her. One night, the world outside raged. A storm broke, and the house plunged into darkness. The power was out, but a different kind of light flickered in the living room. Hania found her father bathed in the soft glow of a single candle. He sat on the floor, not in his usual chair, but beside the empty one. In his hands, he cradled an old, wooden music box. It was her mother's favorite, the one she'd wind up every evening, filling their home with a simple, beautiful melody. E opened Italiano. The delicate tune began to play, a fragile sound against the thunder's roar. And then, a whisper, carried on the wind that rattled the windows. "You never said goodbye." He turned his head, his eyes wide, searching the shadows. There was no one there, just the storm, the candlelight, and the scent of rain mixed with something else. Her perfume, it lingered in the air, a ghost of her presence. He began to talk, his voice cracking with the grief he had held silent for so long. He spoke to the empty chair as if she were right there, listening. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I'm so sorry. I didn't know how." And as he spoke, the past came flooding back. He wasn't just in a dark room anymore. He was dancing with her under the stars on their wedding night. He was holding her hand as they watched their first sunrise in this very house. Flashbacks flickered like the candle flame. We see them, young and vibrant, painting the walls of Hania's nursery, their laughter echoing through the empty rooms. We see them arguing over something trivial, the tension thick, only to be broken by her infectious smile that he could never resist. We see them slow dancing in the living room, the music box playing its tune, his hand on her back, her head on his shoulder. We see him making a promise, his voice earnest and full of love. "I'll never leave you," he had said, a promise he intended to keep, a promise that now tethered him to this chair, to T's house, to her memory. He was lost in his recollections, a man reliving a lifetime of love in a single night. Hania stood in the doorway, a silent observer. She had come to check on him, but now she couldn't move. She watched as her father talked to the air, to an empty space that, for him, was full. He smiled through tears, his face a canvas of love, regret, and profound longing. He recounted stories she'd never heard, shared secrets that were only theirs. He cried for the goodbyes he never said and laughed at jokes only she would understand. In that moment, watching him, Hania finally understood. It wasn't about refusing to move on. He wasn't trying to forget her. He simply didn't know how to let her go. His love was too vast, too deep to be contained by memory alone. He needed this chair, this ritual, to keep her alive, to keep his promise. The storm passed, leaving behind a world washed clean and quiet. The first light of dawn crept through the windows, painting the room in soft, gray hues. Hania found her father beside the chair. He looked peaceful, as if he'd finally found the rest he'd been searching for. His head was bowed, and his hand rested gently on the closed music box. A faint smile touched his lips, but he was still. Hania's. Hania's heart stopped. She knelt beside him, her hand trembling as she touched his shoulder. He was gone. He had finally gone to her. With tears blurring her vision, Hania slowly, tentatively, sat down in her mother's chair for the very first time. It felt right, as if she was completing a circle. As she settled into the worn wood, the music box on the table clicked open, seemingly on its own. The soft, familiar melody filled the silent room. It wasn't sad anymore. It was a lullaby, a final farewell. Tears streamed down Hania's face, but they weren't tears of just sorrow. They were tears of understanding, of acceptance. She looked at her father's empty chair beside her. "You're with her now, aren't you, Dad?" She whispered to the quiet house. The camera slowly pulls back, leaving the two empty chairs side by side, bathed in the morning light. The music fades, leaving only the sound of silence and the lingering presence of a love that transcended even death itself. This story reminds us that love doesn't end when a life does. It changes form, living on in the objects we treasure and the memories we hold close. Sometimes, letting go isn't about forgetting, but about learning to love in a new way. Thank you so much for watching and sharing this moment with us. If this story touched your heart, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more stories that explore the depths of the human heart. We'll see you next time.